And in part 2 of Freddy Vs Jason Deluxe box set, we've already looked at Mr. Krueger himself, so now we're going to be looking at the man, Jason Voorhees. This is I would almost say this is a quite nicely sculpted figure up to about this point here. From this point down, he is really nicely sculpted. There's a lot of detailing that was put into his jacket. The jacket has this rubberized plastic, which is quite familiar and quite common to find on most of these figures that have a jacket. There is also this rubberized plastic in his shirt. As you can see, there's a lot of detailing that was put in the rips. The jacket is quite weathered, which I think the camera can pick up rather nicely. All the considerable amounts of damage and wear and tear that the jacket has taken. Probably, I would say it's nicer now to see Jason with a jacket on than just what he was wearing in the past. It kind of gives an extra element to the character, and I'm glad that they continued that on into the remake of Friday the 13th. In the way of articulation, there's articulation in the shoulders. Nothing in the way of the elbows, just because of the fact that the sleeve from the jacket, they've molded it just so that there's nothing here. I mean, you get articulation in the hand and shoulder, but that's it. There is no articulation in this elbow either. Again, articulation in this hand. There is articulation in the head, although it's not a ball joint, it's just a swivel joint, so the head can really only turn from side to side. There's a slight bit of articulation in the waist. Same with Freddy, there is no articulation from the waist down. And I almost touched Jason's crotch there. There is also articulation in the boot. I also would like to point out the Frankenstein boots that they gave Jason, which I thought looked stupid in the movie. There is some scenes where you can see him walking and you can see that he's got these lifts. And I don't know about you, but I don't think a zombie like Jason is going to be too concerned that he wants to be taller. But one thing I would like to touch base on too is the fact that it's a shame that Kane Hodder did not play Jason in the movie. I think as a fan service to anybody that loves both the Nightmare on Elm Street, but more particularly the Friday the 13th, everybody wanted to see Kane play this role. He's done enough service. He was in, what, 3 movies? Part 7, Part 8, Part 9, Jason X. Yeah, this would have been his 5th movie, so I mean, as a service, it would have been nice to actually see him in the movie instead of the guy that they picked. I guess at the end of the day, they just wanted a really tall guy to play Jason, which, that's not the character. Kane brought so much more to the role, but needless to say, I'm rambling again. In the way of details, now this is probably the most disappointing part to the Jason figure itself. The Jason isn't so bad from a distance. I mean, it's not one of the better Jasons, but I think where the disappointment really starts is when you can take off this mask. And for those that saw the movie, all we saw for the most part was this. And that's as much as we got of Jason's face. And it was during the scene that they tried to give him mouth-to-mouth when he was drowning in the water during the dream sequence. Thank God that we didn't get any more of it, because I don't know if this figure was sculpted directly from what it was supposed to look like in the movie. But if you look at the horrible mug on this guy. I mean, I'll give credit where it's due. The detailing is nice. They put a lot of detailing into the figure, but Jason looks like ass. Look at that. He's got a little bit of hair on the side, which, I mean, I can write off. I'm not going to complain too much about that. But the face looks like, Grendel from the Beowulf movie, the 3D movie that just came out. It just looks terrible. Just terrible. I mean, the mask itself is nice. I mean, the mask on its own is quite nice, actually. I mean, a lot of detailing on the straps and everything else. But it's a shame that they did such a poor job on the face. And if this was the face that he had in the movie, it's so nice that we only got this and not that. So, I mean, that's the biggest letdown, I think, for the Jason figure, is just the face itself. In the way of the accessories he comes with a machete. Probably one of the nicest machetes from the Jason figures that have been released. Generally, for most Jasons, you generally get a silver machete, and they always throw the typical blood at the bottom. But it's nice that you just get a aged, almost like a weathered machete. No blood, no nothing else. I mean, it doesn't have to have blood. The machete does hold well in his hand, although the hand itself is a rubber. I was almost surprised to see how rubbery his hand actually is. It's not a solid piece of plastic, but the machete, at least if anything, does hold well in his hand. It's not gonna fall out, although the hand falls out. Actually, I will keep the hand out now, and the only reason for it is the other accessory that Jason comes with is an alternate Freddy head. It's not attached, it's connected via a magnet, so you can, I was hoping that was going to stick up there, but you can actually stick his head on, which is nice. And then the head sticks back into his sleeve, or the hand sticks back into his sleeve, and now you can have him holding Freddy. Now, if you ask me, that was the most disappointing part of the entire movie. There's no way, and anyone can argue this with me, there's no way that Freddy could have held up against Jason in the real world. I mean, yeah, you know, Freddy could have kicked his ass in the dream world, but there's no way he would have lasted in the real world. Anyone who saw Freddy's Dead and how easily his daughter made short work of Freddy in the real world, there's no way that this guy would have been able to not kick his ass. So I always hate the fact that at the very end of the movie you see him wink. Why? Like, I know you want to cater to both fans, but just, that's so wrong. You should have just had Freddy die in the real world and have some catch at the end. Actually, if you've seen the director's alternate ending to the movie, it made more sense the way they could have done it by have Freddy die, and then at the end the girl and the guy are in bed, and it turns out that I think the girl gets her back cut, or is it the guy? I think it's the girl, and then one of them extends out the hands and it's the claws of Freddy. So we can see that Freddy has still survived, but it wasn't at the expense of having him wink in the movie. Oh, I just hated that. But the other accessory that these guys come with, and I'll just move these guys aside here, is a rather nice fiery diorama. You can actually have them separate, and you can have the figures standing on them independently, or you can actually connect the base together. I'll just pan that down. And they give you a nice little plaque that you can put in the front here. And the good thing about that, and I'll try to put these guys in the way that they were positioned in the movie, is you can actually have them positioned on the stands like that, and you can actually have them have a nice diorama from the movie. And this is the scene when Freddy gets first yanked into the real world, when the girl pulls him out of the dream, and he's about to claw them, and he turns around and he sees Jason there, and there's that horrible scene that, thank God they cut it out, where the girl says, Freddy vs. Jason, place your bets, but whew, dodged the bullet on that one. But needless to say, there you have the, I'll turn these guys around, there you have the Freddy vs. Jason Deluxe box set. Hope you guys have enjoyed it, and with that, I'll see you guys next time.